Lighting and temperatures for a bearded dragon. This is something I've noticed that's been confusing a lot of new owners. I've noticed a lot with my customers, and I'm gonna try to make this as simple as possible because it actually really is simple. I mean, if you just set it up from the beginning. I also recommend you do this before you get the animal. It's even better. Before you get the animal, already have your tank set up, have your temperatures correct, your lighting set up. Keep in mind just their environment in the wild. These animals are from the deserts of Australia. In the wild, they depend on the sun. They tend to depend on the sun for energy, for their digestive system. They need a certain temperature for all that to work properly. They need the UVB rays for calcium to be produced in their body. And so when you have one in captivity, when you have one of these animals in captivity, you have to give them the same thing they would get in Australia. So that means you would have to have a heat light, not an LED light. LED lights are bad for their eyes, but have a heat light that gives them a heat source that their basking spot will be 100 to 105 degrees, somewhere around this. Just close to that. Just go for that. I recommend to use a temp gun. I don't really like those little thermostat things or digital thermostat, but those, you know what I'm talking about, the little plastic cheap ones. They go bad and you won't even know it. And a UVB light. A lot of customers get this confused or think they can just put any light in there and wonder why the animal is eating, why the animal isn't growing, why the animal is getting sick, why the animal is losing weight, why the animal's bones are deforming, why the animal is dying. All because they just don't have two simple lights. A heat source and a UVB light. The UVB light helps their bones produce calcium, but you also need calcium powder in the diet. If you're putting calcium powder on the food but don't have a proper UVB light, you're defeating the purpose. If you have the proper UVB light and not putting calcium powder on the food, you know, they have to coincide with each other. You also want to have a cool down spot because these animals are cold-blooded, so they have to thermoregulate themselves. They can't just, you know, stay warm like a human can. So you want to have a tank that's big enough that they'll have their hot side where they can go bask and absorb their heat, and then they can have a side where they can go cool down on. Now you can use the bulb UVB lights. They're a lot more affordable, but the best UVB lights are the tube. If the UVB light hits the whole tank, that means at all times your animal is getting UVB light. You don't want them to be hot at all times though. So you want your heat light in your basking spot on one side of the tank. But if you can afford it, you know, you can get the UVB light and you'll get the most out of growth and everything. Now you can still I've got animals on a spiral, but I believe if I get the most out of the tube UVB light, especially the Reptisun brands. What else? Lighting schedule. This is another thing. I always recommend the customers to just buy light timers. I mean, no matter how much you think you'll stay on schedule, things happen. You want your animal to be able to sense their day and night. They can only do that if they're on a consistent schedule. I do 14-hour days, 10-hour nights because I'm a breeder. So I need my males to always believe it's summertime. Unless I'm putting one through brumation and I change their light schedule up. But if you're just keeping one as a pet, 12-hour days, 12-hour nights. My animals' lights actually cut on a couple hours after I've already gone to work. I put food in their bowls on my way out the door, but their lights cut on after I go to work. You know, and their lights cut off before I go to bed. But light timer saves me from a lot of work. Another thing that I've noticed that customers have issues with is the heat light. They do blow. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they get hot. They blow quite frequently. But if you're having more than one blowout in a month, it shouldn't be blowing out that much. That's a faulty lamp. You want to change your lamp. You shouldn't be replacing your heat light more than once in a month. That is too much. I mean, every month, if it was every month consistently that my heat light is blowing, I changed that lamp out. That's still too much. What else I want to touch on? Light schedule. I've thermoregulate. Trying to make sure I'm not missing nothing. I'm just trying to. I noticed customers do the heat mats and the heat emitters, and they ask me how I feel about it. I feel nothing about it. I don't use them. like I said, I look at my tanks and stuff like they're in the wild. In the wild, there's not a heat mat at night. You know, in the wild, it's not a heat emitter keeping them warm. They actually cool down at night. They have something they can crawl under. And I'm definitely not going to be in here sweating tonight just because I got bearded dragons living in my home. My AC is blowing because I work out in the sun. So my AC is blowing even when I'm gone. When I come home, I want to come home to a cool home, real cool. And my animals are just fine. Yes, they're desert reptiles. Yes, they're cold-blooded, but they have hides in all their tanks. All their tanks are built for that, where they can crawl under something and stay warm. I don't use heat mats. I've read too many scenarios where they went bad and burnt the animal. Heat emitters, I just don't use them. I mean, they don't have that in the wild, so I feel like they don't need it. I don't have both lights are off at night at their sleep hours. Both lights are off. I look at it like that. In the wild, there's no light shining in their face. The sun is down. So I couldn't sleep with a light in my face. So that's how I feel about that. So I hope this just makes it easier for customers. Oh, and another thing I've noticed with new owners, the first thing they're worried about is decorating the tank. That is usually a sign that this owner is starting off on the wrong foot. That should be the last thing you're worried about because the animal doesn't care about that. The animal cares about his needs being met. You're decorating the tank, that's something you're doing for you. So if anything, that's kind of selfish. I also noticed that customers get the animal and then go get the setup. That is bad. That's not a good idea because the animal is already stressed out from the transition. The way you can make that a lot smoother for the animal is that a week or two before you got the animal, you already got your temperatures correct. Like, for example, if you're getting an animal from me and, pay a deposit for me to hold it a week and send me pictures of your tank and I can, tell you when everything is set up correctly. That way, when you got the animal, you just bring them into the new environment and they'll adjust a whole lot faster, start eating well and everything if you're not already trying to figure it out with the animal there. So the animal is there. You don't got the lights right. You're trying to figure it out. So you're already setting the animal back that early at their age. That is not good. I recommend that you already have the tank set up and your temperature's correct and your lighting correct before you get the animal. But, hey, that's just my recommendation. What do I know? I've only been breeding for 4 years. I've only been an owner for 5 years. So I'm not no master or anything. That's just my opinion. You can take it how you want. Y'all have a blessed day.